I need to unmute myself. Welcome, everybody. You know, that helps. We're good to go now, though. We're good to go. Welcome. I hope everybody's having a great day. And my name is Konsti. You may have seen me if you've been around for the Indie Arena booth streams and whatnot. And today we had a little, well, sort of an experiment. We kind of asked people on social media if they had any sort of buildings or constructions they were missing in Townsmen, A Kingdom Rebuilt, that they would have liked to see in the game. And we got some cool suggestions. And I am today joined by Matteo, one of our talented artists, who will now, from one of these suggestions, or parts of some of these suggestions, we'll talk about it as we go, but some of them were pretty funny. We'll come up with some concept art, and we'll see what happens from there. But for now, Matteo, why don't you introduce yourself real quick?
Hello, everybody. I am Matteo, as Konsti already introduced me, and I've been here in HandyGames for, let's see, almost 10 months. This is all very new to me, of course, both the stream and the job itself, but I am looking forward to make something for the viewers to watch and perhaps learn from something. If any of you have any questions about what I'm drawing or my background, feel free to ask.
Absolutely. We'll be reading chat at all times. So what's the plan today?
So today the plan is to take one of the suggestions of the viewers.
Right.
We had some peculiar ones, but ultimately we decided to go for an alchemist laboratory kind of building.
Right. So
we will proceed with the references.
Mm-hmm. We're basically starting from scratch, right? There's nothing. And you'll come up with a new building, basically. How does that work? Where do you start?
Yes, exactly. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but apparently your voice is very faint right now, so we might want to.
My voice is very faint.
Oh, now it's not.
It's better?
Now we hear just fine.
Is this better? Okay, cool.
Yes, much better.
Awesome.
So you were saying?
Right. I was saying. So, as you can see, the page is blank. We've got nothing except for Photoshop and dreams. So where do we start? What's the first step to coming up with a completely new building?
First step is, in most of the cases, it's always to gather some references. Mm-hmm. So most simple thing to do, please ignore the rocket launchpad here on screen, but would be to search for alchemist, for instance. And you see we got already some results.
Right.
Most of them are actually going to serve our purpose, since we are going to be setting it to a close period to the Townsmen, basically, which is close to medieval one. However, I was thinking to change it up a bit and perhaps add some more culture to it, so not just a generic medieval feel, but perhaps something like a Viking culture instead, or Slavic.
Sure.
As I think it's quite charming and makes it more unique.
Definitely. And who knows where this alchemist comes from?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Culture always helps to kind of ground something that you draw.
Right.
No matter what you make. So not just architecturally, but the background and the narrative of it all.
Right.
So let's see what we got here.
Sure.
Minecraft.
I was going to say a lot of Minecraft references.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes they're nice for the big shapes, just to get a general feel, but I think we're looking for something a bit more detailed than that. As you can see, some of these are actually from games, but do not have any shame to collect references from games, which is actually something that I do very often.
Mm-hmm.
The point to do it is to get the idea, okay, how did they do it? And how do they approach it? So what we're gonna do, by the way, here is already a collection of references that I already got.
Oh, perfect.
Just as a preparation of this.
The magic of television.
And exactly. Gotta drag and drop it.
Okay, is that a feature in Photoshop, or is that something else that you're using?
A different program, yes.
Okay.
It's called PureRef, which is a big black canvas where you can include any picture you want, arrange them as you want, and it's just very easy to navigate and have it as the side of your screen.
Okay, right.
Yeah. So there you go, it's saved. I don't know why it took so long, but now we got it. And yeah, what else can we include? Let's see. As you can see, most structures are made of wood, which is what we're going for anyways.
It's kind of the Nordic, ancient Nordic style, I guess. You know, they worked with what they had.
Exactly.
Oh, I like that one.
A circular shape. It's actually real, but
yeah, I was gonna say that looks like a real picture, and it also looks like it's not medieval, probably, but you know, I guess for inspiration, it's good enough.
Oh, and your audio got cut off again, but I don't know. I mean, you sounded faint again.
Oh, I sounded faint again? Okay, that's weird. I didn't change anything. I can turn myself up a little bit. I can get the microphone closer to me as well. How's this?
Still the same.
Still the same, huh? That's weird.
A little bit again. We apologize in advance for any inconveniences.
That's just live streams, you know, it happens. Let me check real quick.
This was an experiment, and we're still trying to set up things optimally.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Hold on, I'm gonna.
Oh, now completely.
Is it better?
Yeah, now it works.
It's worse. What?
No. Oh, now it's back to the thing.
Okay.
Okay, now it works.
Okay, weird. I don't know. I actually didn't change anything yet. I don't know. Maybe this microphone is pooping out. It's not the newest, I guess.
That's okay.
It's not. But just for reference for the people watching, it's not actually this microphone that Matteo can hear. I'm using two different microphones, which makes it super complicated. But what are you gonna do? All right.
Explains it.
All right, as long as you can hear me now.
Yes, I can.
Okay, cool.
All right, so.
Okay, so we collected reference. That's good.
Exactly. I think for now it's actually enough, given that I already have so much.
Yeah.
For preparation. So just go back to Photoshop. And of course, what we have now is a lot of stuff.
Right.
But when we begin, it's always important to kind of start simple. So the reason why I got this grid behind is because I can draw more easily. You know, I can easily do a little cube, don't have to worry about.
Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, okay, I see it now. I was in my head, I thought it kind of looks like a mesh fence, but it's actually, I don't know what you call it exactly, but it gives you sort of the plane, right? It shows you the plane where the building will be standing on. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, cool.
So it can be useful for anything, especially once it's flat perspective. You can put it anywhere.
Yeah.
So if you have a person or any object, it's going to fit in the scene.
Right, I see.
So if anyone of you would ever want to do something isometric, you just put a little grid on the background and you're ready to go.
Yeah.
And here I'm just gonna start with the simple shapes. I was actually kind of fascinated by the circular one. Right?
Yeah, I really like that one as well.
Yeah, it's a little more unique, you know. Got an alchemist who is a bit more of a unique character in my mind. So you know, it's I'm gonna start with a simple ellipse. Just gonna keep it really bigger. Can always keep in mind the perspective. Great. And here, so
you're a little bit quiet right now. Remember to shout at the microphone.
Yes. apologize in advance, but
Don't worry.
is a little further from me.
Yeah, all good, all good.
Yeah,
See, that's perfect now.
I, yeah. Okay. If I am ever too faint, please just
Yeah,
tell me.
I'll let you know.
Just
Don't worry,
call
don't
you.
worry.
Right on.
We've been asked in chat already if we're planning an update, but we're not. This is just basically a thought experiment. Like, we asked people to give us suggestions of buildings they would have liked to see in Townsmen, and that weren't in the game. And we had some real silly ones, dare I say. But we also had some pretty cool ones, and one of them was like, the original idea was a alchemist's tower, sort of, but we decided not to go for a tower shape, really. Well, I guess this is sort of a tower as well, right?
I can still work the tower, honestly.
It's just a very short and thick tower.
Exactly. I mean, that's the beauty of it. You can really change things pretty quickly here. Go all the way down.
Oh yeah, right,
So, yeah,
right,
so,
right. But for now, we're probably not going to go for a tower building.
oh,
Just,
yeah.
but yeah, it's not. There's no update planned or anything. This is just to give you guys an insight of how, the art of the game is created. Right. That's something that happens. So all these
Very much
all these models and pictures, and somebody's gotta create them, and that's how that works. That being said, though, who knows what happens in the future.
very much. Job does exist. If anyone of you wondered if it is actually possible to be something like a concept artist, this is a job that doesn't have much of a coverage in our current world.
Mm-hmm.
If I say doctor or firefighter, people immediately understand.
True.
Whenever I say my job, well, then I have to go a little deeper.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. I get similar questions, I guess. So like, well, what are you doing? Are you playing games all day? Like, oh yeah, kind of, but also not really.
Exactly. It's a bit more than just that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, how did you end up being, a concept artist?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question. It's pretty simple. I've always been keen to draw ever since when I was little, as usual, but concept art was not something that was directly in my eyesight. Whereas at the beginning, it might have always been about drawing, I was actually leaning more into architecture.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something much bigger, let's say, it's anything you draw is going to be built eventually if you get the funding.
It comes with a different set of challenges for sure. Yeah.
Very much, yes.
Because
I say bigger ones.
Yeah, because like in the game, it's the programmer's job to make sure the buildings don't don't fall through the map or anything. In real life, you'll have to Also, the consequences are much more grave if a building doesn't keep it. Yeah, you don't want that for sure.
So yeah, I have studied 3 years of architecture.
Mm-hmm.
However, realizing that it wasn't exactly of my taste, I have changed my educational career and went to the FCD school in Singapore, where I studied for 1 year. Oh God. Please ignore that. That was nothing official.
All good, all good.
Okay. But yeah, as I said, I studied in Singapore for a year, and after that, I was able to find actually a job within the gaming industry instead of building real-life buildings. But yeah, as Konsti already said, it's very much different because you don't have limitations when it comes to this sort of drawing concepts.
Right.
I'm gonna make a movie and make it stand on a ramp, just this.
Yeah, that would work.
Yes, of
That's
course.
that's
Good job.
completely plausible. I don't know what you're talking about.
Just go like this,
Yeah.
you know? But not in the real world, no. That's the main reason why I left. Yeah, sure, I'll agree that it is generally much more fun and less tedious to be in this job than building actual buildings nowadays.
That's good. That's good.
um, the voice went faint again, I'm afraid, but I'm sure it'll come back out of the blue eventually.
Right. Right, right. Um, okay, so the stairs are already they are already you know off your imagination, right? There's no stairs on this reference picture as I don't see any anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Something they just added according to what I feel. Maybe it's cool to have some stairs or maybe have some
Yeah. Makes sense though.
afterwards. Yeah. Roof supplies, can't see it here, but I can only do that according to my own taste. It's usually something that goes like this when you have
Yeah.
circular things. So let's go with that and see how it goes
Yeah,
afterwards.
that's I was imagining something along those lines, yeah, as well.
Very much so. Not sure that it is too. Mm, Apologize if I'm quiet sometimes, but when I'm drawing, I usually don't talk.
All good, don't worry, don't worry. It's all good.
Just sometimes I thought about live streaming for my um, hobby-like activity, but no.
So when you when you work on a project, what's your favorite part, or rather, what are your favorite sort of objects or characters to come up with?
I'm afraid I can't hear you again.
Oh, okay, that's weird. Is this better?
So,
Is it the microphone? Is it the microphone? The
could
microphone.
be.
I didn't change anything. That's so strange. That is
No,
so
good.
strange. Let me check real quick. No, it's the right microphone. Oops. Can you? Is it not better?
Uh, I heard you for I think 2 seconds, and then it went
Huh.
back to that.
That is so weird.
Okay, well now it seems to have come back as usual.
I don't know. Okay. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. Technology, man. It's weird.
Yes,
Also, I
up against it today.
switched scenes, unfortunately. Okay, we're back. We're back. All good. All good. Hey, that's live streaming. It is what it is.
It is.
Yeah. Maybe just for people who are interested, the setup that we ended up using is just not setting it up at all. we
Yeah.
we were thinking like, okay, so because you have to imagine you don't see it, but we see it in the background of Matteo, one of these big tablets, right, that you can see here. That's pretty much what he's using as well, right? You don't see his because it's in front of him, but that's basically it is the same model, isn't it?
Pretty much, yes.
Yeah, exactly. So um, first we thought about, well, okay, so we bring this tablet over into the broadcasting room, which in itself, where do we set it up? I only have one desk in here. It's not as big as the green
It's,
screen makes it seem. and
it's very cumbersome.
and we would also have to bring your PC because it's just it's basically just a screen. It's not a computer itself, right? So we would have to bring basically your whole desk into this room and set it up in here. So we decided to not do that because we've got other things to do as well. And yeah, so we're basically chatting online, and that's why we're having some mic issues every now and again, but it should be fine now.
Yeah. Always comes back eventually.
As long as it as long as it comes back eventually, we're good to go. Right. Okay. We've already made quite some progress.
Yeah, it's obviously it was just a cylinder before, but the trick is to kind of break down the shape, and that way it makes it more interesting, of course.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
So,
So I'm imagining a pretty much exclusively wooden building. Is that what you're thinking of as well?
very much so. You can always add some colors to it. It could be paint or
Right.
even some of the overgrowth that you see here.
Oh, I like that.
It's always a nice way to
I
break down
like
the
that.
of any wall or roof structure that you might have.
Yeah, I remember this. I know where this reference is from.
Oh, you do?
I think so. Isn't there a certain half giant living in there? I don't know. Maybe it just looks like it. It looks a lot like Hagrid's hut from Harry Potter.
Oh, it does. It's a little smaller than what I remember, however.
Well, maybe from further away. I don't know. Maybe I might be wrong. I might be wrong. I don't know. And it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. But,
It does. Sorry, Harry Potter fans.
no, all good. I see.
You are faint again, so I was thinking that perhaps
I'll
when
just.
you are, I will draw a little star just to make sure that I don't have to say it every time, but everyone knows that I can't. Here it comes.
All good, all good. You just say it, and I'll be back eventually, and I'll tap on all the microphones. Actually, I won't tap on the microphones because it'll annoy people. But
Oh yes, I do forget that other people are also listening to this.
yeah.
Oh, sweet. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
All right. I already see some decorations in there. Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, yeah, perfect.
there we go. Now we're all fast.
I already see some decorations in there, little barrels or pots or. I mean, obviously this is a very early rough sketch, right? I mean, now I'm no artist, but I can see a rough sketch when I see one.
Very good.
So how long would it take you roughly? I mean, obviously every project is a bit different, but generally speaking, how long would it take you to start from scratch until you have a finished, well, artwork?
It always depends.
Mm,
Depends on the requirements or how final someone needs it to be. You know,
right.
these are not drawings, but there will be people who have to 3D model them. Sometimes that's the artist himself.
Mm-hmm.
But you want to convey enough detail so that the person, when he looks at it, knows what they're looking at.
Yeah.
And that might require more time to flesh things out. Right now, some of these structures that you see here are a bit rough, and I may have to adjust it so that you can actually understand the sides, if they're symmetrical, if you go all the other way around,
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. So one thing that that's 3D models can quite helpful is to have orthographics, and that will be basically an elevation of the building. We see
I see.
such.
Yeah. So we get an idea what it's going to look like from all the different sides and angles. Yeah, that makes complete
It's
sense.
a very helpful tool for 3D models in that situation. So it could be from 1 week to settles, depending on if you want more details or even the rendering in color of the building itself. And, but today we won't go as deep, for now at least.
Right, right. Yeah, we're going to stick to to the concept for now.
Precisely.
Maybe another time. Who knows?
Maybe another time, exactly. Maybe
Yeah.
another time our setup will be a little better than today's.
It's fine. It's fine. This already looks like something that I would like to live in, actually. I mean, if the climate is warm enough, it looks drafty.
Yes, it's a little open.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if you have a nice view, that can be a very good thing, right?
It is. For that, we can always close it up. Something here as well.
Right. Yeah.
And have actual windows, perhaps. Cool view from the weather outside. I'm just going to start moving some things because I
Sure.
usually try not to spend too much time on one drawing because
Yeah.
the point is to have different options.
Yeah.
Not just one.
Yeah. Okay, so that's obviously another thing. Yeah, we'll need to keep in mind that obviously, if you work on a project like this, you're not working on it alone. So you can't just go all out and do exactly just what you want, right? You have to kind of talk about, you know, what the plan is, what's the like all the buildings say for a certain, say Townsmen, say the DLC that we had lately, the Seaside Empire, right? You have to make sure that all the buildings sort of fit together, right? Even though each one is different, obviously, but you wanna have a common, an overall common style to the game. So you'll have to, chat with the team and make sure that the lead designer is happy with what you're doing.
Absolutely. Just by taking an example from the surfaces here, there's different style when it comes to concepts such as these ones. And these might already be a little closer than the usual ones, but there's also much more cartoonish styles that, if were put next to this one, then complete disaster aesthetically wise. So it's always something to keep in mind and coordinate among other artists as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Unless you're the only one, in which case, by all means, go do whatever you want. And
Sure.
Tell you otherwise.
If it's your game and your company, then you can do what you want, and your money.
And your money most important.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there any certain challenges that you struggle with, especially? Like, I don't know, certain art styles or certain topics or certain kinds of artworks?
It depends from artist to artist, but specifically for me, I would say that I am fairly comfortable with buildings, but when it comes to different topics, for instance, character design, then that will be one of my biggest weak points.
Okay.
It's actually one of the most difficult ones, given that an artist is expected to have perfect anatomical understanding.
Yeah, that's true.
You are not allowed to stray away from certain proportions, and the human body or even creatures can be very hard to reproduce correctly from drawing.
Yeah, I can imagine, because especially, well, with buildings you have a lot more room for suspension of disbelief. Like your example earlier, when all right, let's just take this whole thing and put it on a tiny stick. That's fun. And I think people are more inclined to believe that in a game than they were if the people, the actual human beings running around those buildings wouldn't look like actual people. You want a certain kind of realism with people and animals and stuff. That makes sense.
It's also the reason why games that are leaning on topics such as sci-fi are a little more difficult to sell to the audience, since it's hard to find a common ground
Yeah.
for the audience to actually believe what is going on, what is being created.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's always a gamble, and that's why you see so many games set in medieval times, since it's something that already existed and people can easily relate.
That makes sense. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas games like Mass Effect and the incoming Cyberpunk,
Yeah.
I'm sure I've gone through a lot of challenges design-wise and
Yeah.
language to
I can only imagine,
the
especially
audience.
those huge games. Like, there's so much content. There's so many individual pieces of everything. Like, it is
Yeah, I imagine, yes.
almost like creating an entire world. It's wild.
You have no idea, yes.
Yeah.
It's a huge task.
Oh yeah.
It takes a huge team, a great amount of time and effort.
Yeah. I can.
So, yes, today, what we're doing today is going to be much easier compared to people in, what should we call it, in CD Project Red.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, right now I'm not going through this kind of weird structure, and I'm not sure if I'm exactly satisfied to explore any further, which means that I might want to go for something else entirely instead.
So basically, at this stage, you just sort of brainstorm, right? You come up with different shapes and ideas, and then you see which ones you like and which ones you don't like.
Exactly. There will come a point also where I like parts of this and parts of that, and I'll try to merge them together and perhaps get something more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So that works perfectly.
Yeah, yeah. Somebody in chat, somebody in chat asked if that's the Hagrid hut. So maybe I was onto something.
Maybe yes. It
It's
may have
not
all
though.
been
It's not.
correct after all.
Well, this here isn't anyway. Yeah.
Yes, well spotted though. It's a very reminiscent of it, of course. Octagon.
Why not?
So probably stuff, a lot of shapes are viable. Although, you know, alchemists were kind of a weird thing back then. And,
They definitely were. Well, they were. I mean, I guess at the time they were almost, they were highly regarded. I think many of them
yeah.
as like scientists, quote unquote.
Yes, science for that then.
Yeah, I guess it's the closest thing they had. At least they tried some stuff, right? At least they took some risks and.
They did, yes. Sure contributed to our healthcare system nowadays.
Oh yeah. I see. I see.
Try with some more triangularity, and you'll see me jumping from reference to reference.
Yeah, sure.
See. Oh, look, I have it on Minecraft.
Ah, perfect.
Can always come in handy. I actually quite like the shape language.
Yeah.
This whole, I think, Lumbermill or something.
It could be. Yeah. It's crazy how even if it's such a the Minecraft art style that is such a it's just basic shapes. It's very simple in a way, but people still find ways to make it super complex and look amazing. It is very very inspiring and artistic. Yeah.
Yeah. Just like Legos, they're pretty simple.
Yeah. Yeah.
People have made incredible things out of it.
Yeah.
So it's more or less what I've tried to do here as well. If you break down my buildings, they're all just simple shapes put together to create something else instead.
Right. if you compare digital drawing to, or digital art to regular quote unquote art, you know, drawing on paper or some other kind of canvas, you know, is there a big difference, or and which one do you prefer?
Well, there is definitely differences. I mean, right now the drawing looks very natural. However, when you are in a program, you have so many other possibilities that just outclass sometimes the traditional drawing. Just
Right.
goes, for instance, that's one of the biggest advantages, of course. And it all seems better. However, I do recognize that traditional drawing has something of unauthenticity to it.
Yeah.
Cannot always be reproduced on a Cintiq.
Yeah. Fair. That's fair. It's there's something real to, you know, getting a, I don't know, even sort of like a brush pen or something and just having at it. Yeah, true.
Feeling of it, the control of the stroke or whatever medium you're using, traditionally speaking. It's different. Here in the Cintiq, I'm always using the same pen as you see here.
Right.
The brush will be determined by the list that I've got here, and sometimes it's not easy to control the outcome of it.
Yeah.
So there's pros and cons, of course.
Yeah.
And nowadays, the industry has, of course, leaned a lot more on the digital painting because of its speed and because times are short.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess it's more effective. Yeah, that makes sense.
Very much so. Yeah.
Of course. I mean, imagine going into a meeting with your lead designer and just handing him a stack of paper and like, oh, this is what I came up with. Choose.
I'm sure there's some companies that do it the old-fashioned way.
Oh, maybe, yeah, maybe. Hey, and if it works, it works. You know, what are you gonna do?
Exactly. There's a book for them, so
yeah,
can't blame them on that.
no, for sure.
So yeah, and honestly, it's been a while since I made a traditional drawing. Yeah, I think that I should really go back to my foundations.
That's fair.
Times.
That's the cool thing about art. There is like pretty much literally unlimited potential in choosing your medium. Right? It's like you can draw on any smart device these days. Even, you know, even your phone you could draw a picture on technically. It might not be, you know, it might not be the greatest, but it'll work for sure. And you know, all the way to, you know, from traditional canvas and paint to tattoo art, you know, all of it is art at the end of the day.
And I have seen people who were unable to normally grasp a pen, and they resorted to very different techniques. And one of them was blowing candles.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. I've seen.
Yeah, it was not a still picture. It was very much like a table. I'm gonna just quickly draw it here.
Right.
We have several candles arranged at a regular distance from each other.
Yeah.
And according to the way that the person blew it from a specific direction, the picture that was taken from a camera above would record it, and sometimes you would see a face. It was deliberate, of course.
Yeah.
That was his own part.
That's awesome. I've seen a guy. I think it's been kind of a documentary or something. I don't know. I don't remember exactly where I saw it, but it was basically this guy who went up to cars with very dirty windows, right? Like super dusty rear windshields, and just painted amazing artwork on there with nothing but a brush. He just had a brush and he painted the dust away, right? So it was sort of a he didn't add to the canvas, he took away from the canvas, and that created the image. And that was, I mean, it's simple in a way, but it also kind of blew my mind.
It's a nice service for them as well to
I mean,
read
maybe
that.
I don't. Maybe he deliberately, I don't. I don't think he just went up to any old car that he found. I think maybe maybe it was just his car and he deliberately made it dirty beforehand. I don't know exactly, but
Sure.
but hey, that would be cool as well. Just
If any of you does not have money for the equipment, find a dirty car and
yeah,
clean it up in your own way.
just
We practice. Not
just
sure
have
how
at
to do
it.
it in
Yeah.
countries. Yeah. Yeah, it's completely endless. Sometimes I don't realize about it because, of course, eventually you would want to specialize on something, or else
Of course.
you'll never find a base on which you can work on and improve. So
Of course, in a way, yeah, sure, that makes
I'll
sense.
probably continue to do buildings in the future, given that is my comfort zone currently. So that double window situation. Well, what about you, Consti? Have you ever dabbled with the arts?
Um, well, yes and no. Just a very, very tiny little bit.
Okay.
But I'm not great at drawing. I've never really learned how to draw well. I mean, obviously, I can draw a mean stick figure for sure, but that's nothing to write home about. Um, but I'm dabbling in sort of, well, all sorts of design just because I'm interested, like logo design, um, all that sort of stuff. But it's more like a hobby. So I come up with like a bunch of letters, for example, and I just try to create a cool logo out of it. Um,
That's yeah. Nothing wrong with to do it. Yeah.
and yeah, and it's fun. It's fun. It's relaxing, but it's not really. I wouldn't say that I'm good at it. Like, yeah, but it's all. I guess it's mostly a matter of practice and experience, as with most things, huh?
Definitely with this.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
Constant pride, let's say.
Yeah,
But with
yeah,
current skills and knowing how to improve for the future.
yeah.
I don't know if I'm always keeping things in mind as an alchemist type, but whatever comes out, I'm sure it'll be interesting for you guys to look at.
Definitely. Um, the thing with me and drawing is I don't know. I've it's not frustrating to me, but it's this frustrating is not the right word, but I'm sitting there. I'm like, I know exactly what a human hand looks like. Why can I not recreate one? You know what I mean? But it's super difficult. That's what we talked about earlier. It's especially anatomy as well. It's.
Exactly.
But yeah.
Human hand is one of the most difficult parts, by the way. Don't be
Yeah, I
so
can
hard.
imagine with all the joints and wrinkles and everything. Oof.
Very much, yes.
Yeah, yeah, I can imagine.
Once you do get to draw that, then I think you're in a very good spot.
I like them all so far. All the ideas that you came up with. I think my favorite is probably still the first.
Yeah.
It looks very, I don't know, alchemisty. I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know what the word is, but I don't know if there is a word. But yeah, I like them all.
I don't think again. still not really very much.
How big do you imagine an alchemy or an alchemist's hut should be? Because I'm guessing it shouldn't be as huge, but at the same time, do you have like if you work on a project like Townsmen, or let's say Townsmen for comparison, um, there's probably certain parameters you'll have to keep in mind. Like the building can't be too wide, it can't be too tall, it shouldn't be too small either. Is there like a
Um, the volume dropped down a lot on your side, so I heard something about a townie, but not much of the rest.
Oh, okay. The question was if you're working on a project like Townsmen, as an example. Can you hear me better?
It's still very faint.
It's still bad? Okay, okay, we'll just wait.
Right.
It'll come back.
Wait.
I don't know. I don't know what causes it. I'm not sure what causes it.
It's happening.
That's weird because I have both my microphones. Like one's right here, one's right here. They're like right next to me. I don't know. It'll be back.
Sure.
You just let me know and then I'll ask my question. Don't worry.
Perhaps you could keep talking so I know when it comes back.
I'll sing a song or something. Moon River, wider than a mile. Oh, that's actually not a good idea. That's probably copyrighted. Uh-oh.
Oh.
Now that I think of it, well, I think, 2 lines are probably fine, but I shouldn't go any further. Oh, man.
Well, I think maybe actually the sound is back, so that's the good news.
Okay, that's good. Maybe we'll get banned from Twitch because of copyright infringement. That's bad, but you have to take the good with the bad. No, I think we'll be fine. I think we'll be fine. What was my question? Yeah, if you're working on a project like, for example, Townsmen,
Yes.
I'm imagining they'll give you certain parameters within which you'll have to work. Say the building can't be too big, it can't be too high, stuff like that.
Very much so, yes.
Yeah, okay.
If you're in a city builder, if you build an extremely tall building here, then imagine the camera going against it.
Yeah,
Taking to the camera
right.
can only zoom out so much.
Right.
So this thing will be extremely in the way
Right.
in a lot of circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
And while I probably won't go as tall as this, you do still want to keep things at a certain height throughout the whole game level.
Yeah.
Buildings and perhaps 1 or 2 stories. 3 might be already a kind of a stretch.
Yeah.
So depending on where the camera angle is, you need to keep things under control, and that of course
Yeah.
affects the design.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many things you have to keep in mind. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's sometimes mind-boggling as well. Whenever I make a concept also, when I imagine this as a building, very simple. Cube, and I think here. A 2D drawing only shows so many sides, but what's going on behind it as well. Right. And as well, when, for instance, in other projects, in other games, they had 3D buildings, then you have to consider all the things that are going around when the camera changes angles.
Yeah.
So yes, it's something that has to be coordinated with me, coders, programmers, game designers. It's a lot of branches.
Yeah.
Together.
For sure.
Yeah. So yeah, they will give me specific requirements, and I'll kind of have to do my best to keep them in mind. And the grid is actually one of the best things that I have as well, to know the scale and the shape and the size of the building.
Yeah.
So that's always helpful to have whenever I'm drawing. what shall we do now? Put the Hagrid's card.
How many first drafts do you usually? Or I mean, obviously
I'm gonna try
that's a
to
silly
answer it.
question because it's gonna be different for every project probably. But what's like a good amount of drafts to present, or to then choose the one you want to build your final artwork from?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a big question. As you said, it depends on the project.
Yeah.
So it depends on the time available. You've got different stages when it comes to the game production. And sometimes you don't have as much time, which means that you have to go with what you got. But if time allows, the more the better, actually.
Okay. Yeah.
Since the more choices that you have, then you just know, okay, I don't like this one, perhaps you can try that one. And you have more doors to open. Too few, and you will be just limited to that number.
Right.
So it's cutting off a lot of potential designs for the concept itself.
Right. I want to say something, but I can't really make out what this is going to be yet. I have to wait until I see more detail. Oh yeah, we've been asked if we can, or if you can draw a rocket, and this reminds me of the rocket launch platform suggestion that we actually got on social media.
Someone wants to rocket.
It's a good idea, but at the same time, it doesn't really fit the theme. Maybe in the future, who knows? I gotta be careful because if I say something like maybe the Townsmen will go to space eventually, people look, oh, new Townsmen confirmed, and of course that's not the case. I mean, it would be. It's a funny thought, but I don't know.
You're very good again, by the way, just to let you know.
Oh, okay. I can't sing a song really. Maybe I can hum a song. I still don't understand why. That drives me crazy. There's no reason for it. I'm literally not even touching the microphone nor the PC. I'm just sitting here looking at what you're doing.
Yes, I absolutely trust your words. So, mysterious technology problem that we're having today.
Yeah, it's probably Well, that's technology for you. There's always issues.
Hoping through this.
The important part is that people can see what you're drawing.
Yeah, the screen share doesn't seem to be affected.
No. It's great. Play the soundtrack of Townsmen. That's actually a good idea. It's actually a good idea. Where do I get it from now, though? Where do I get it from? I like the idea. Oh, maybe next time. We'll set it up next time. It's a good idea, though.
We'll prepare all the stuff fast.
Yeah. We should do this more often. Well, if I can convince our bosses, to Oh, can I can I get Matteo for an hour or two today so he can draw something that I can look at on stream? I don't know. I don't know.
It's,
I don't know, because you know they need you. They need you. But
yes, I do have some pressing matters sometimes, so
yeah,
they might be a
don't
bit
don't we all? Don't
compromised.
we all? There's there's always more than enough work to do
Oh,
here, and that's a good thing though. Ah,
yeah. It is.
yes. Now I kind of see it. Yeah.
It's always nice to have another story. So,
Yeah. I can see it.
yeah,
That's cool as well.
it's not exactly Alchemist hut, but
I mean, it doesn't have to be a hut, you know. It could be an alchemist's house, tower,
house.
you know, garage, if you want it. Well, that's maybe again kind of conflicting with the whole medieval idea.
Yeah, a little like the rocket launch pad, but you know.
Yeah, you know, some sort of workshop. And who knows? Who knows? You know what an alchemist really needs in terms of housing.
Exactly, right? It's the nice thing about
Yeah.
Alchemist.
See, I always imagined that it would be cool to one day, you know, if I ever win the lottery or something, I always say like I'm gonna buy myself a lighthouse, an old lighthouse, and I'll live in a lighthouse. That's gonna be so cool. But at the same time, you know, there's gonna be a lot of stairs you have to climb every day. I don't know about that.
Yeah. If you can afford a lighthouse, I'm sure you can implement an elevator inside too.
Maybe. Maybe.
As the stairs are part of the experience living there.
Yeah, gotta keep it real.
Yeah, not to mention there's a great physical exercise.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Great workout.
The question then is, would I also have to operate the lighthouse, right? If there's a ship coming in, would I have to like run upstairs and turn on the lights and go?
Well, you will basically be working there instead. You know, exactly.
At that point, yeah, at that point, I would be getting paid, right? Maybe that's the way to go.
Yeah, I mean, that's your thing, absolutely.
I don't know. I think it's one of those ideas that sound better in your head than they actually are.
As many of the ones that I
Oh yeah.
I think at least. Were you always attracted to lighthouses and seaside structures?
I like the seaside, yeah. I like the seaside and
Hmm.
yeah, and lighthouse. I just think they're kind of cool. There's no real reason behind it, but I think they look cool and yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, lighthouses are always pretty fun to look at. Very specific looking buildings.
True, true. Well, they have to be, I guess. That's part of what they do, right? Be obvious and easily visible. It's cool. It's useful.
Yes.
One thing that you'll probably also have to keep in mind when working on these things, maybe not so much the sketches yet, but definitely during later stages, is how will the people actually interact with those buildings? Because they will at some point, right? They'll go in and out and work in there or whatever, you know, depending on what the building is. They'll do something with it and on it. How does that? Is that already influencing your workflow at this point, or do you think about this later?
Kind of again, but I heard workflow.
I'll ask again in a second.
Oh, no, it's back.
Okay. That's so weird. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. I was wondering because obviously at some point people or the characters in game, I mean, will interact with these buildings. Um, how do you or when do you start thinking about, oh, okay, so this is the door that they're going to use, this and that is what they're going to do there? Are they just going to go in and out? Are they going to work in there? Is that going to be visible to the player? Does that already affect your decision making at this point, or do you think about this at a later stage?
Um, yeah, that depends on the stage of the game. The very early stages, it's not as relevant since
Hmm.
the mechanics have probably not been found yet.
Hmm.
However, once the coders or game designers have some specific things in mind, then yes, that's actually very important.
Hmm.
That means that I have to design buildings in such a way that the door is obviously big enough
Hmm.
for something to go in, or a specific space for something to happen,
Right,
which could be storage.
right. Because I'm thinking about, for example, the um, what is it called? The monastery or the brewery where the in Townsmen where the monks go and basically they did go out and they huck this big barrel, right? That's one of my favorite animations actually in the game, and that's the way they create the brew basically for the other townies, and that's something that needs to be decided or kept in mind at some point. That actually, oh, okay, so in this yard there's this barrel that the actual person working in that building is going to interact with.
Yes, I think I heard most of you until the sound went down again.
Well, it was more me talking than a question, so we're good. Ah, okay.
Sorry, I still can't hear you.
No, don't worry, don't worry. We'll be back. We'll be back. I wonder why, but there's no point in wondering now. We'll figure it out. Okay. That almost looks like a bus stop. That reference
Okay.
picture. It could be, yeah.
Looks like a
It probably is, yeah. Nice.
very old
Public transportation update confirmed for Townsmen. Not, by the way. That was a joke. You got to be 100% safe here.
very fake again, but yes, the bus stop joke was very good.
I'll note this down.
So as we continue in silence, I am starting to this time take the bus stop shape, as you can see,
Yeah.
and asymmetrical roof shape, and perhaps put something out of there. Maybe we can take some elements from the previous building that I started with and add the same detail.
Remember to speak up. You're quiet again.
I think I heard speed up.
Yes. Be loud. But yeah, I like this idea. It's obviously it's not going to be a bus stop, but it's gonna. It could be. It could work like a storefront, maybe even something like that, where he's just sitting in there
Okay.
selling his philosopher's stones and whatnot.
Philosopher's Stones, yes.
I mean, whatever he's gonna sell, I don't know. I've never been an alchemist. I don't know what they do.
We have Nicholas Flamel in the game. I'm sure that could be something.
Somebody asks if we can make these buildings rotatable. Well, not for Townsmen, a Kingdom Rebuilt, because the engine's already there. It's not, you'd have to rewrite the whole game, and that's not gonna happen. It's just the art style of the game that prevents the buildings from being rotatable. But, or I guess, oh, okay. So what they mean is, can you make the individual buildings rotatable? I guess that could be possible, but it's going to be a lot of work. I thought about rotating the camera. That's impossible, I think, or at least you'd have to rewrite most of the game's code and probably do all the art over again as well.
Game, basically.
Yeah. And if you want that, what you're really going to need, basically, is what we've talked about earlier. You would need then from these artworks to go on and create a 3D art, actually, instead of just a 2D one. And if that's not there, you can't rotate them, unfortunately.
I'm afraid that technical difficulties sometimes make things.
Yeah, it's just
unachievable.
Yeah, that's just the technical limitations. I mean, we can't forget that Townsmen: A Kingdom Rebuilt is not exactly the newest game. It's been around for a while. So changing everything now, okay, I'm just talking to chat. Changing everything now would be kind of difficult. But if you want rotatable stuff, you got to check out Townsmen VR. That's a thing. That's a thing. And yeah, you can definitely rotate everything in Townsmen VR.
Yes, I can hear you again.
Good. I'll put that down on my list of things I want, is a new microphone for Matteo. Or
for me.
No, your microphone. Well, I want a new microphone for you. A proper headset, I guess. I don't know. It's not. Then again, it works sometimes. We have to figure that out, but we will. It's not like it's broken. Okay, maybe it is. I don't know. I don't know what causes it. I don't know what causes it. I want to say it's not me. But hey, some other fun ideas that we had, that we got from you guys on social media, was a cheese dairy, I think I remember. And I think I personally like that idea quite a bit, because that's something that we were missing in Townsmen for sure. And it could have opened up a whole new production line. But at the same time, I found The Alchemist was a bit more daring, adventurous. The cheese dairy, sure, could be cool, but it's really just another food production line. Okay, what are these squiggles there at the bottom?
That's a very rough way to put nature in, basically.
Oh, okay.
The problem is when I'm too far from the camera, the accuracy kind of goes down, which is why it's squigglier than.
Okay. Fair.
As you can see here, it's actually starting to follow a specific pattern.
I see.
Cheese brush, I think I've been drawing with the wrong one, but it still worked.
Yeah.
Sorry, you just that.
All good, all good. We're in the office. There's other people around, obviously. No,
Yes,
no
so
worries, no worries.
there are other things going on.
Everybody's working on making amazing games, so can't blame them.
If you see anyone behind me, please just ignore them. And do tell me if they're making funny faces, because then I'll just make it quicker.
Right.
That's just
The chimney was a good idea. Just put a chimney up on it, and immediately it doesn't look like a bus stop anymore. I like it.
definitely. It's all about the details.
True, true. No, I really like that one as well, actually, though.
I think it's good in summer. I just think I need to expand it somehow.
Yeah.
Trick that I like to do is break a piece of the building and transfer it somewhere. And your brain can kind of imagine the rest of how it goes.
Could townies develop modern technologies that would be nice? Well, see, that's the thing. There's actually a mechanic implemented into the game that if you play it for 2,000 years, it's gonna slowly turn into a sci-fi game. That was also a joke. That,
Oh,
do not play Townsmen for 2,000 years. You're gonna die. Could be fun though. Imagine a game like that. Imagine a game that's just a real-time, like an actual real-time strategy game. Oh, you want to build a chapel? Well, that's gonna take you 100 years. Enjoy.
that's what I call cottons, yes. Would be true immersion. I believe there are games that, take almost real life time
Yeah,
period to accomplish something.
probably.
So
Probably.
that's
Yeah.
actually not too
But I
many.
guess none of them ask you to build like a huge monument.
Thank goodness, no.
I mean, the amount of simulations out there, there's probably a market for everything at this point. But
Sure.
it would be funny. It's like,
Exhausting, but I will watch it.
you're you're a medieval architect and you're tasked with building I don't know, Notre Dame or something like that. That's gonna take you all of your life. Now on early access.
Always want to be the builder of the Notre Dame.
Nah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're games at the end of the day. They're supposed to be fun, right?
So,
In
that's
most
why
cases,
things
anyway.
are usually sped up so much in games, of course.
Yeah.
Both in space and time.
Oh yeah. For sure. Okay, so you basically just cut off the front of the building and just dragged it away, and now you're filling in the blanks, right?
Yes, they extruded it this
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. I like it.
So it's nice and it's easy as well. Just have to select the piece that you want to move and then make it happen.
Yeah. And that's one of the good things about digital art, I guess. Because if that had been pen on paper, you'd have to redraw everything, or at least erase it and then redraw it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's just so much easier overall.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
No comparison. Yeah.
If there's an animation going on in the at the building, say I don't know, there's like a sign or something that's like waving in the wind, or in the case of like the butcher shop in Townsmen, there's animals in there or something. At what point would that detail be put into the artwork. And also maybe to clarify for some people out there, you are not the one who's animating this, right? There's animators who will do that. Or is that part of your job as well?
It could be part of my job.
Oh, okay.
But specifically,
Hmm.
there's things that I could do, for instance, in a 3D program to allow an animation to happen.
Okay.
But I'm not the actual person who's creating the animation itself.
Okay. I see.
So an example would be if I had a flag here,
Mm-hmm.
right? If I were to model this whole thing, including the flag, then we're going to have some technicalities here, but I would have to vertex paint the flag in a specific way.
Okay.
And the program basically recognizes this color to allow certain animation to happen.
Okay.
And same as the trees as well. We got trunk, branches, and the leaves.
Mm-hmm.
So in this case, only the leaves will be painted in a certain way.
Yeah.
And that would allow them to rustle and move according to the
Okay.
With the trunk and the branches, well, the trunk mainly would not be affected. And
Right.
it remains.
Right. Okay,
So
I
it's
see.
a lot of combinations. Yes.
Mm-hmm. I see, I see. I really like this one. That it looks very homey. Like you got this little porch, you got the yeah, it looks nice.
Should look at this one too.
Yeah.
I might. Let's do a bit more nature to it too.
Yeah, sure. Makes sense, yeah. I know of an alchemist. Well, an alchemist was mostly. See, I should have looked up the definition of what an alchemist does, because I'm not sure if an alchemist would have like a. I was gonna suggest that maybe he's got a herb garden in the back, right? But maybe that's not what an alchemist does. Actually, I'm not sure.
Herbs are very much included in their profession, I would say. You know, it's a combination of alloys, elements, and sometimes it was also within the medical
Yeah.
branch.
Right.
So,
So maybe, yeah, maybe then they would in fact have something like that. Okay.
Mhm.
That is cool. I like all the different. Oops. That's my microphone. Why did it fall? Why you do this?
I can still hear you.
That was on me. My microphone. I don't know. It's clipped to my shirt, and for some reason it unclipped itself, and I'm sorry about that. I don't know how it happened. But here we are. I caught it before it hit the floor, so we're good. Even then, I don't think anything would have happened because it's quite light, but still. What was I going to say? I really like the idea on this hut with the different heights of the roofing, where you can imagine like, oh, okay, so you go in and it's sort of this entryway, then you go into the back room where the ceiling is a bit higher. I don't know, there could be stuff hanging from the ceiling, something like that. I don't know. Never been to an alchemist's hut. Maybe I should go someday.
I still wonder if it ever existed, but we'll leave it at that. we can have some tree. You see here are actually the rings around the park that allow me to make it easier to draw it.
Mm-hmm.
Like this.
I see. Okay. Nice.
Actually,
I like it. I like it.
you know, organized nature usually goes together.
Yeah, that's cool. That's yeah, that's something I could really imagine is like the tree growing into, or at least very close to the house. Maybe not into the house. That would be a bit crazy, babe. But yeah, could work though. Imagine having like a tree branch growing through your bedroom. Like, oh, that's a nice coat hanger, right off the bat.
I honestly would actually use it as like a coat hanger in a joke.
Could be cool. Maybe this is even my favorite. Oh well. Oh well.
So,
Yeah.
it's
Awesome. That's awesome. I think.
More than pancake, actually, to me.
Sorry?
It's an Asian to me. You know, that's something to.
You have to speak up a little bit.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, good.
Sorry, Asian instead.
Yeah. Well, maybe with yeah. I see what you mean. I see what you mean. I think though you could, if you wanted to go more for the Nordic style, you could definitely do that through color probably.
Yes.
Because if I imagine this as an Asian style building, I'd assume that it would be very colorful.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Some are not very depending.
Yeah,
On
probably. I mean, that's.
they use a kind of a specific color palette,
Yeah.
and could just look at some Japanese games and I immediately get an idea.
Yeah. Now, then again, who knows? Maybe the alchemist, emigrated from Asia. Who knows? And he just built his hut in the style that he liked. Who's to judge? As long as what counts is that he's a good alchemist.
Stories another.
But I see what you mean. Yeah. I still like it. All right. I think we're almost out of time for today. Well, for the stream, but I'd say we'll fix our audio issues, and we'll have to maybe revisit one of these ideas at some point. If you're down to do that, would be super interesting to see, go to the next stage and actually, work towards a final artwork. That would be super sick. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm just going outside.
Oh, you don't have to. You don't have to stop. You can you can keep going as long as you like, or as long as they let you.
Yeah.
That's not for me to decide. Cool. All right. Thank you though very, very much for your time and effort. It's been quite the insight. And I can't wait to explore this further. It's gonna be cool.
Likewise.
It's gonna be cool. All right.
Stay tuned for the next.
Definitely, definitely stay tuned. We'll let you know. We'll let you know. People, thank you all so much for being here. Maybe, you know, and maybe at some point we'll even make a rocket. You know, who cares?
Who cares?
At some point. Not right now, but at some point. Maybe, maybe. It's a strong maybe. I personally like the idea. We've already talked about this earlier. I really like the idea of like a steampunk sort of medieval rocket ship. Of course, it doesn't fit the game at all. So, you know, it's not gonna, you know, don't get your hopes up. But as a creative experience, I think it could be super cool. But, you know, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. For now, we're helping out our friend the alchemist, finding him a new home. Okay, Matteo, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And well, I will see you in a bit because we are working in the same office building. And everybody else will see you soon, hopefully. And yeah, have a wonderful day, everybody. And until next time, take care. Bye-bye.